There is nothing more passionate I am about than driving that elevated experience. All right, welcome to the Menlo Experience. I'm your host, Brad Sant, with Kyle Bach sitting next to me here. First episode.
First episode.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling like it's the first episode.
Yeah, a little jittery?
Yeah, a little jittery, but I got a water and, a really fancy headphone, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, we're mic'd up.
Mic'd up.
I think we should get on with this.
Let's get started.
All right.
Brad, why a podcast?
Why not? I think we were sitting at Joe's BBQ, a couple Z-Mans.
We had some Z-Mans,
Right.
extra crispy fries.
That's right.
That's important.
Got to go extra crispy.
Extra crispy.
Sure. So we're sitting there talking, and I'm like, we have all these conversations behind closed doors. Nobody hears them, right?
Right.
And lots of good stuff going on, making jokes, maybe a little business talk, right? So
We do squeeze in some business talk in there.
a little bit, a
couple times. Yeah.
It's mostly jokes, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So we got to get that information out to our teams, right? And we're talking a lot of stuff, a lot of leadership stuff, a lot of angles on things, and at the end of the day, it just comes out as a final directive or a final conversation piece, right? So nobody hears the context on that. So how do we get that? How do we get that out to our team, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two, let's get some other people on here. Let's get some people that know what's going on, because clearly we don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we'll bring in some thought leaders, bring in some people that maybe have different ideas and can always grow from that. So
yeah, I love it. When we were sitting there, I remember throwing out, I can't remember if it was you or me that threw out the idea, but we started talking, and it was like a pod. I think I maybe mentioned a podcast, and then you were like, oh, I've been thinking about a podcast for a long time. And I think that being able to get people from the company in and be able to understand where we're coming from, understand more of the passion and drive, I think as they see that, from you, sometimes it's easy to see all the directives or KPIs and things like that and think that that's just, not quite understanding the why and the drive behind it. And so I'm excited to just let people in. I've only been with the company for 4 weeks, but you and I have been spending time together for over 2 months now.
right.
And as a part of those conversations, I think I'm really special because I get to be in on getting into your brain a little bit more than most people get to.
You've been here 4 weeks and you think you're really special?
Because I'm getting into your brain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some people have called me special before, so it's okay.
Good ways and bad ways for that.
Yeah. I choose to always view it the good way.
Fair.
So,
Okay.
but
we'll go with that.
Yeah. So I think I'm excited that everybody gets to, kind of hear your thoughts and understand more of where you're coming from. So,
yeah. And you as well. I mean, I think I'm just a big vision crazy guy, right? And somebody's got to make it work. And that's your damn problem.
That's
now,
right.
So.
That's right.
Yeah.
And here's your problem. Yeah. No, it's fun. It's a good 1-2 punch. And I think that, our conversations have always kind of been that way, that it's been more collaborative and more, so excited to kind of bring people in on that. And, and I think that some of the things we've talked about, and one of the things we want to, talk more about is, just the mentality and the culture that we're talking about. But one of the things, current trend that happened that you and I have probably spent hours talking about over the last couple of weeks is this quarterback series by Netflix, right? Yeah. And so as you were watching the quarterback series, first of all, I plowed through it like in, I think, 3 days with my wife. And I think you took like 3 weeks.
Yeah, pace yourself, right?
Yeah. No, I binge. I don't pace.
Okay.
And so we plowed through this. But what stood out to you as you're watching that series?
Well, you just look at the mindset of a high performer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people that give it their all, and at the highest level of pain, they push for more, right? And so you take a championship mindset, and at the end of the day, they say it's all mental, right?
Yeah.
But they focus that on a goal and an achievement, and they're after it, right? So, the interesting thing about quarterback too is you've got 3 very different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
All bringing personality to the game, right?
Yes.
And, oh, poor Kirk Cousins. He's moaning on the field and, it hurt,
All of those times where he gets up. I make those sounds when I get up too, but
right.
I think he has more of a reason to make those sounds after he's been tackled. But I make those when I get out of bed. So
yeah, bruised ribs, hopefully not coming out of bed with that. But you got Kirk, and then you got Marcus, and then you've got Pat Mahomes, which obviously we're in Kansas City. We love Pat.
Yeah.
Patrick, number 1 competitor that I've ever seen, you know, and he ramps his team up. He pushes harder. He sets the example. And I think that's such a huge thing. If you look at a leader and being able to push the message out, set the example, and drive that passion into the game.
Yeah. He leads. It was interesting just seeing the level of leadership, and I would say Kirk Cousins and Patrick definitely were the two strongest leaders out of the two for sure. But you just saw a different level of intensity out of Patrick. Kirk focused. I love that he had all these extra trainers and everything like that. But he had all these, he had these people that came over to his house that were trying to squeeze a 0.5% more out of him. Do you remember that line?
Oh yeah.
Where he was like, that's the incremental like improvement he's constantly going after, which I love that about him. But there was a different level of intensity that he it seemed like he was like reining back on, like he was holding back from this intensity. I know you and I have talked about that, like even with you, and I've been trying to encourage you to not hold back on that, because I love watching Pat. Like I just don't know that there's anybody in the game that is as intense as he is. And this morning I was reading an article on he was defending Kelsey, who was throwing some punches this last week, and at training practice. But he defended him this morning. He was like, look, we're just all so competitive that, punches fly, but we get in the locker room and we're all just, jabbing each other. And like, it's just, we're on the same team. But there's such a level of, urgency and commitment and championship. Like, we're going for this thing. They don't want to just hit the playoffs. We don't want AFC championships. Who cares about those? Like, we want Super Bowls. Right. And I just know, it takes a leader like Pat, like to just drive that. And I think that that's the same level as we talk about the company, as we talk about Menlo. How do we take that same championship culture and that same mindset, that same passion, sacrifice? Passion is, willing to sacrifice and suffer, right, for something, and take that same purpose, right? That Super Bowl is us helping our clients and our customers win, right? And our customers are teachers and they're, schools, and we get to help people be better educators as a result of our mission and purpose when we're successful. And we want to take that same urgency and that same championship culture towards that.
Yeah, look at the Chiefs. You've heard me say this a lot, but what does it feel like, right? And at the end of the day, feeling that emotion, you walk into that locker room, it's going to feel a lot different than the Falcons or something like that. Just the championship, what the expectations are when you walk in. And we want Menlo to be exactly that. You just hit the door and this is different, right? Yeah. And that passion comes out and it's a push. Sometimes you throw a few punches, but we'll see how good your boxing skills are too. You get out of the way, right?
That's right.
See how much you can dodge. A little agility.
I'm waiting on Jason's going to come in and punch me after he watches this the first time. I just feel
that's fair.
That's right. So it's okay.
Get your.
I probably deserve it.
Yeah, well, just start training.
That's
right.
That's right.
You got to put the work in. So
I've been doing my push-ups. Yeah. So I'm working on it.
But you're exactly right. I think you look at our customer base. We have the chance to impact so many futures in the world, right?
Yeah.
All the students that are growing up and all that sort of thing. And so we've talked about this before, but we have the opportunity to be heroes, right? Yeah. Anytime we interact with a customer, anytime when they call us, something's not working, it's a negative experience, and we can be the hero. Yeah. So everything that we need to be doing on a daily basis is driving to that.
Yeah.
And you know what word I'm obsessed with right now, right?
Yeah, elevated.
Elevated.
That's your word.
What's it mean?
Elevated experience. Elevated equals Menlo.
That's right.
That's why this is the Menlo experience.
So what does elevated mean to you?
Elevated is above and beyond. It is elite. It is next level. It is going the extra mile. It is going above our contract, above the minimum. It's elevated. It touches every aspect. So even in the office, it's trash on the floor. It's picking that up. It's attention to detail. It's noticing. It's heads up play. Noticing when something is off and we aren't hitting that level of service that we need to provide. Providing that elevated experience it's next level. It's what we need to be providing for all of our teachers and students and staff. What's elevated mean to you?
Well, here's the thing I love about elevated, and it doesn't matter where you're at, whatever you've experienced in life. Once you hit a point, elevated is the next point, right? And so you never stop pushing. You never stop rest on your laurels. Yeah. And we said this the other day, but the only thing that is impossible is the thing that hasn't been done yet, right? Yeah. But pretty much anything, as you look through history, was thought to be impossible at one point. So elevated is that drive, that passion, that push to be the best and then keep going. So even if we are at the top of our game, you think Pat Mahomes is sitting around? He just won the Super Bowl. No, he's back out there, off-season camps, pushing. Yeah. Elevated should always be delivering that best experience. And really, you know me, I'm emphatic about it right now. Yeah. And there is nothing more passionate I am about than driving that elevated experience.
I love the question of that. Is this an elevated experience? You know, as we've started saying that around the office a lot, and really approaching each situation or each issue, right? I love the quote about the "We could be a hero." I know you, when we were talking about that this week, you mentioned the EDM song. You want to bust that out for us just for a second?
You sing a lot better.
We could be heroes, right? Like that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that song.
We're gonna get you a mic.
Yeah.
Another mic.
Another
know,
mic?
So, yeah,
Okay,
for
perfect.
the office.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. Well, you know,
yeah.
I'm gonna be over the loudspeakers in the bathrooms, right?
Maybe we'll leave it
that's
to
all we
Alesso,
do.
and
Yeah,
we'll just
okay.
we'll
That's
use the
fine.
cue the
That's
reference
fine.
track.
That's right.
But
Cue the track.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
right. Our producer could do that for us.
That's exactly right. But yes, I mean, we can be heroes, and I love the question of, is this an elevated experience? Because most of the time you ask somebody, they'll stop and think, and their thought is, we could have done better, or we could do it better, or we could do this.
Yeah.
And I think that mental frame coming at it that way is how you drive the very best.
Yeah, it changes the culture, because it's not just asking, you know, could we have done better? It's, is this an elevated experience for our customer, for our employees, right? Even just around the office, and as we interact with teams, as we, even as leaders, as we, you know, help managers grow, as we help our teams grow, as we help individuals grow, is it an elevated experience at the company? You know, where we're filming this, right? Is this an elevated place, right? Is this an elevated experience? I think that making sure that that's a constant question that's being asked. Am I providing an elevated experience for everybody I interact with? Right. Even my family, right? Am I providing an elevated experience for my kids? I mean, it touches every aspect of life.
Yep. You know, I think you hit the nail right there. Is we can ask everybody in the office or people we interact with, you know, was this an elevated experience? But where I've catching myself is asking, did I just provide an elevated experience?
Right.
And it's an interesting piece of accountability to yourself as you start to ask that. And you know,
I think it's part of what motivated this podcast, right? I mean, in our conversations, you were talking about how you know, we didn't think we were doing a great job at communication, right? Yep. Didn't feel like we were doing a great job at, you know, we're setting KPIs, we're setting quarterly goals, things like that, and we were communicating those things, but it was more dry. It was more, you know, here's what our company goal is, you know, and not that those things are necessarily bad, but, you know, what's the why? What's the purpose? What's the story? We've talked a lot about that, you know, behind closed doors, and I think that making sure that we do a better job of, you know, from us, right? Making sure that we are providing that elevated experience as well, and making sure that our company, it starts with us. And
it's got to be fun too, right? I mean,
of course it's fun.
Who wants to sit in a meeting room and learn about KPIs, really?
Like, yeah.
We got to not do that every day. But
right.
We're getting nerds.
We did do it this morning.
Yeah,
but,
I know we did. But yeah, I mean, let's have fun with it. Talk about where things are coming from, and really push to see how big we can get. And I think, you know, that's some of this 10x thinking and all that sort of stuff is part of that. But you got to think big. It's all about your mental capacity. I told you I was running on the treadmill this morning, right?
Yeah.
And 5:30, get up, go do that. And for our audience,
you're going to share your goal with the audience?
Not yet. We've got a little fitness goals. We got a little fitness goals.
Some fitness goals we're holding each other to.
Yeah, we're working on it. But needless to say, we're on the mission. We're committed. We're committed. So the push is 5:30 in the morning. You're tired. You got to keep going, right? Yeah. And you got to get out of bed when you don't want to, right? I mean, that is part of leadership and improvement, is getting out of the bed, right? Showing up. Yep. And I told you this morning I was running on a treadmill and I thought I couldn't do anymore. And got in the mental headspace and just zoned out everywhere else, and you can crank stuff out, right? If you believe it and you're focused on things, you can make things move. And so that's what we got to do day in and day out. You know, that's what we need everybody to do. And you can't just be the leaders in an organization. It can't just be a few people. We all have to be there. We were talking about extreme ownership the other day. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? I know that's a goal.
It's my big rock for the quarter. So we had our quarterly leadership meeting, and we came out with one rock, and that one rock was assigned to me. And the whole title of the rock is extreme ownership. So the first meeting we had with a bunch of our managers was talking along the topic of extreme ownership. The title is a title of a book also by Jocko. He's a Navy SEAL guy. And so, but the concept of extreme ownership is, you know, you own it, every aspect of it. It rises and falls on the leaders. And as a leader, making sure that I'm taking control of every aspect of ownership of this situation, of everything around me. There's no excuses, right? You know, only progress, right? And, you know, so it's really, you know, talking about that level of commitment, that level of ownership. And if you had extreme ownership, what would that look like in this situation? And we did a assessment of the managers. They each assessed themselves, and sent me a text afterwards. And I won't reveal numbers or anything like that, but it was good. Just, if you had to assess yourself right now, I think that's a healthy thing for everybody to do. What level of ownership am I operating at? Like, am I operating as a level 10 owner, extreme owner in this situation, or am I kind of phoning it in, and am I doing the bare minimum? And, the bare minimum gets you by. You might maintain a job and things like that, but what if we all operated with extreme ownership?
Yeah.
And what would that look like? What would it look like in every aspect of your life? But at work, what would that look like? And if we attacked tickets, right? There would be no tickets sitting open, 30 days, right? Like, if someone had extreme ownership of that situation, it would just drive them bonkers to have that situation, right? Like, it would drive them nuts. And I think you and I kind of feel that. I know there's others at the company that feel that also, but it's like, it kind of like is this rage that like comes up inside of you that's like, like, own this thing.
Right. It eats at your insides, right? Yeah.
And if it doesn't, like, then you're not operating out of that level of extreme ownership, right?
Right.
And so, yeah. So what's it mean to you when you think of extreme ownership? What's that look like in your life?
I mean, you hit it. No excuses, right? I mean, check your excuses at the door.
Yeah.
There's always 100 things you could blame something on, right?
Yeah.
But extreme ownership is, if there was nobody else here to solve this and I was the only person left, what's this going to look like, right?
Yeah.
It's my do or die moment, right?
Yeah.
And extreme ownership is, you're going to take that to the next level. Obviously, elevated is what we're talking about, but you're not only just going to barely get it done, you're going to take complete ownership of that and drive it through the finish line.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people have like this concept of like, well, that's not my job, right? Like, well, this falls outside of my job. Like, I haven't seen on a job description picking up trash in the bathroom, like, I don't think it's on anybody's job description, but I love the quote that you said the other day that was, it was in somebody's office, so you could
ain't nothing not my job.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Ain't nothing not my job. Like, and if we all approached every day with that mentality, that we would never have a situation where it's like, this isn't my responsibility. It's the team. Like, we operating as a team, right? I love in the book Extreme Ownership, he talks a lot about the SEAL teams, right? And he talks a lot about them operating as a team and working together as a team. And I don't know that extreme ownership as an individual, there's probably different things going on there, but as a team, if we all operate with extreme ownership as a team, man, the sky's the limit.
Yep.
And I had somebody ask me where I think the company could be in 10 years with extreme ownership, with an elevated experience across the board. Man, I think I told you I said the B word, but we could be a huge company, right? We could be we could be hundreds of thousands of students that we're serving across the country, right? Tens of thousands of schools. Yep. As we look at, the industry, and that's only K-12, right? That's not if we expand beyond that. And when I think about that, and I think about the need, and I think about, serving students at a higher level and schools at a higher level, man, the opportunity is just massive, right?
It is. Oh, it is.
And, so it's just huge. So
yeah, I think what drives me, it's not even about the opportunity. It's about being the best at what we do day in and day out. And the company grows itself in some ways. And when that happens, but I think the ownership thing, we talked about this the other day in a meeting, but a rising tide lifts all boats, right? And so when it feels really heavy and people are performing individually, it's daunting, right? And taking ownership. But when everybody on the team is taking ownership for things, it's a lighter load for everyone. Things aren't falling through the cracks and all that sort of stuff. So it's not
which makes it a more fun place to work, right?
Right.
Like, who wants to work at a place that things are all falling through the cracks all the time?
That's right.
Right? Nobody wants to do that.
No.
But if you have a place where you're constantly collaborative, working together, there's high energy, we're an elevated experience. I view this like we're recruiting the guys in the room right now, right? Like, because that's what I believe in and where we're headed.
They don't know it.
But they don't know yet, but it's coming. Don't worry.
At that kind of
it's happening.
Psychology. But really, what does this look like? I mean, we've talked about this a lot, but can a culture go from maybe mild performance to really strong performance exactly the way it's always been?
Yeah. No, Can a culture go there? Of course. But it starts with each individual, right? It starts with me. And, I think that if we don't have that mentality that it starts right here and it starts with my daily decisions, where am I falling short? Where am I not providing that elevated experience? Where am I not operating out of that extreme ownership, that urgency? How am I falling short as a leader? And if we constantly take that daily assessment, And look, we're not going to be perfect, right? And as a culture, we're not going to be perfect, and as individuals, we're not going to be perfect. You might be perfect, but are you perfect, Brad?
No, my wife tells me all the time. So
That's right.
yeah,
That's right. My wife definitely confirms that as well for me.
know.
So it's one of those things. But she's perfect, though. I just want to clarify that right now.
Facts.
Love you, Tracy. So, but yeah,
shout out.
yeah. Quick shout out. She'll probably never watch this. It's okay.
It's fine.
But yeah, so I mean, I think that it starts with us. It starts with me, right? And if we can take that element, I've seen culture shift fast.
Yep.
I was listening to a podcast this morning on momentum, and when coming back full circle to the sports, right? When momentum shifts in a game, it's usually a quick event, right? It's usually one play. And Tony had a couple of those plays, like this last season at the very end, but it's usually one quick move, and the whole game changes around, and then it's like, well, the momentum's on this team's side now, right? And if we can get the momentum on our side, if we have this opportunity to flip the script, right? And then the game changes.
Yep.
And it can change that fast. And so I think that I think that I've seen that in a couple. The first nonprofit I was working for, we joined, and there were 30 to 40 employees. When I left, there were 400 in 3 countries. And the last company I was at, 6x'd in 2 years.
Yep.
The momentum, when it shifts, it can shift fast, and things can change quickly. And opportunities open up, right?
Yep.
And opportunities to impact people across the country and the world. So,
but like we talked about, when you're going to do that, things are going to break, right?
Things break.
That doesn't mean we're failing. That
Yes.
doesn't mean that the
Right.
ship is off course.
Right.
But things are going to break, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have problems to solve. We're
Yeah.
going to have people that are going to have to step up
Yep.
and learn new things
Yeah.
to overcome challenges, right?
Yeah.
So we're not going to avoid that. We're going to embrace that and go running head
We're
first
running
into
straight
it.
into
Right.
it. Yeah.
So freight train right in through the wall, right?
I
So,
mean, we're going.
Yep.
I think I've sent the "Let's Go." The guy from Ted Lasso, the "Let's Go."
Oh, yes,
GIF.
yes.
I think I've sent that to you like 5 times over the last
times,
week.
yes.
But it's I think that's where we are, right?
Yep.
Like that's where and if we have that mentality, things are gonna break. At every level. I love the book Scaling Up. But Vern Harnish talks about like there's different levels in business. And when you hit to this level where you're kind of, stable, but, not necessarily scaling, there's new systems, new opportunities, new things are breaking every time, like new problems, new challenges. And every time you go to that next level, there's new opportunities, new challenges, new systems, new opportunities, right? For the team, like to step up into new leadership opportunities, like you mentioned.
But like we talked about the other day, and I'm all over this as well, is mediocrity is the devil.
Yes.
Right? That
Yes.
leads to complacency and
Yes.
not pushing. And so the biggest fear I have is saying it's good enough and people not wanting to make the move. And you know me, I'm gassed down. That is not acceptable. We're going to push through that.
Yeah.
So
Good enough is the worst.
that's right. So all of our people need to be comfortable being uncomfortable, as they say, right?
Yeah. The only consistent is change.
That's right. So
Right.
and nothing changes if nothing changes. We talked about that a lot as well.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
So
yes,
there we go.
Totally agree with that. So our goals, where are we headed?
Well, obviously, we've got a quarter rock that we're trying to hit.
Yep.
But if
Quarterly
you're
rock.
looking 4 years out, we've got a goal to be 50 million, right? 250 customers, managed service customers. We're about a little over 100 now. So really 2.5 times that size. But you and I know that's what we got on paper, right?
Yeah.
So
I might have called you out the other day. What did I say to you?
do
you remember?
Well, I mean,
I asked you if you
threw
were
out
hedging.
several numbers. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I asked you if you were hedging because I
little
said,
bit.
look, I'm coming in, I'm new, I'm fresh,
Yep.
4 weeks in here, but I know you, and you described yourself as you like to go at Mach 3.
that's right.
And so I think that makes you Maverick. I'm not sure. He was going Mach 8 or 9 in that movie.
Was he? No.
Yeah, maybe they pushed for Mach 10. I think
Maybe.
that's when he exploded.
That
the
was
plane.
the second movie.
I don't
see,
recommend exploding
I'm a
planes.
little older than you, so I saw
You
the
haven't watched
first
the
one,
second
so-
movie?
No, I've watched it.
Oh,
I'm
just
saying
making sure.
He's not happy unless he's going Mach 3 in the first movie. So
Okay, all right,
that's what
perfect.
30 years of innovation will do for you.
That's
know?
right.
So,
10 now.
Right.
10 now.
Mach
Okay.
10.
Well, we'll
So-
go with Mach 3.
That's right.
You like going at Mach 3. And our company's goals, I think I just told you, like, look, the foundation's here. The technology's here. I think we've got a solid team underneath us.
Yep.
And why only growing 2.5 times?
I worry about scaring people sometimes, right?
Yeah.
We got to get this message
Yeah.
out that we can do it
Yeah.
first, because then we're going to really dial this baby up and we're going to hit that Mach 10, right?
Yeah.
But some of this we're working out to the team, but we've got big goals. Let's just say it that
I think that's fair, and I think it's okay for for people to hear big goals like that and think, man, that seems lofty. I love the phrase "big, hairy, audacious goal."
Yep.
Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah,
BHAG,
BHAG,
right?
Yep, BHAG.
And I love the idea of, we're aiming for a lofty goal, and it's not just a dollar amount. We're aiming for tens of thousands of schools, hundreds of thousands of students and teachers that we're serving, right? And really the need is there, right? We were talking about the school districts that have had cybersecurity and ransomware attacks, right? And well, how is a school district in a remote place supposed to be providing cybersecurity at the level they need to be providing it at?
It's nearly impossible.
At the resources they have, it's nearly impossible. So we can come in and provide. We have an entire position in person that's only dedicated on cybersecurity, right? Like that level of dedication that we're able to have as a managed service provider specifically for schools is just next level. So so I love the vision of that, and I love the idea of putting a bigger vision in front of people, only because I think that there's so much more that's possible. And when people see that big vision, when people know, this is what we're aiming for, and it's, look, we're aiming for the moon. And I love companies like SpaceX and things like that are like, they're aiming for lofty things, right? And I think there's something about it that people want to be a part of those lofty things. And so I think the number on paper is one thing, but I think the where we're headed and where we're going to be is
we should be able to
totally different.
Double that in the same time period. Let's
Totally
be
agree.
honest. Yeah.
Totally agree.
So, but
I think I told the leadership the other day that if we don't hit it in 2 years, I'll consider us a failure.
Yeah.
And because it's only it will be our faults around the room.
I mean, we own it, right?
Yeah.
Extreme ownership to get there, but
mine included, right? Mine first of all.
Right.
And so
Well, I think being in sync, having this message out, this is the key of this podcast, right? Is we want everybody on the same page of what we're after. If we're all going different directions, there's no way we can achieve this big, really big goal. So being on the same page, working together, extreme ownership, those are the things that fundamentally drive the change and the growth of things that you didn't think were possible. And it all starts upstairs. And when I say upstairs, I'm obviously talking mental. It starts preparation, starts working hard. We're talking about training camp the other day. And they're not just showing up to play their first game, right? They're out there
not
sweating.
practicing in their backyard and then just showing up on Sunday for
Everybody's
the first game.
not practicing at their own backyard field. Even though, did you see Pat Mahomes' new house?
Oh my gosh. What an amazing field in the back of his house. Do you see the basketball goal he's got in his house too?
Yeah,
oh my
crazy.
goodness. Pat, I want to come.
Yeah. Well,
okay. That's if he's going to watch this, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Maybe,
all right,
maybe we'll have the show over there sometime soon. Yeah.
On the field.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
There we go. Right back.
Yes.
But it's all about preparation, right? So all of the things that we want to do aren't made on game day. It's not made the day we show up. We've got to be working harder, getting better, learning new skills all along. We bring this extreme ownership. We're unstoppable.
We'll have an elevated experience.
And that is the Menlo experience.
That's the Menlo experience. Thanks for coming, everyone.
All right. Thanks.